I came back to make this part of the video first because I wanted to remember to say that in order for the tenant to fill out the NTN, which is probably your first question, like how do they do that? It's actually a link tied to our office, tied to Keller Williams Morristown. The link is down below. I actually put the link in the comments here. If it doesn't work, text me, text SKYLAR. It's coming from SKYLAR. It is not coming from me. It goes to the office. The tenant goes onto the NTN website, completes the application. At that point, they need to let you know, and you need to either call, text, or email SKYLAR, not me, and let SKYLAR know, hey, Joe Smith completed the NTN for 123 Main Street. SKYLAR then has the ability to go into NTN's backend and pull that report out and email you the PDF, which right after this blurb here, I'm going to get right into what that looks like. All right, so once you get to the NTN stage, whether that's in the beginning of the process or once your tenant finds a place and the landlord says, hey, fill out and send me an NTN, this is what it looks like. So this is a real NTN. Just got it in today, April 21st. I tried to just black out all the person's information other than their first name. So this is what it looks like. It is an application, essentially. It runs background, criminal, eviction, and it actually gives the tenant a score from 0 to 100. And as you can see, it tells you that the applicant should be rejected based on what NTN discovered from their application. So I think I talked earlier about whether or not you should do the NTN before you take the tenant out. In this particular case, the tenant essentially convinced the agent to take the tenant out before the NTN was completed. And once the NTN was done, after the agent had showed the tenant a bunch of places, the agent discovered that there was an eviction right here, 2018. There's an eviction that the tenant lost, essentially, and now it's going to be extraordinarily hard for them to get accepted into a rental with this eviction on their NTN. Not impossible, but super hard. So what I did tell the agent to do was have the tenant email you, so you get it in writing from the tenant's mouth, hey, I need you to tell me exactly what happened, why it happened, and why it's never going to happen again. And I need you to email that to me so that you can send that to the listing agent along with the NTN and their application to try to get them to accept a tenant with an eviction on their history. So just quick sidebar, because I'm always saying this, this tenant has an eviction, but their credit report right here, 625 credit score, lenders don't care about the eviction. So this person could get a mortgage, I don't know, no problem. It's always an option though. So sometimes people think, oh, I have bad credit, I have to rent. That's not always the answer. But anyway, this person is a renter, whatever. They don't make a ton of money, so they're going to stay as a renter. So we'll just go over this from start to finish. They have to go to NTN website, which I've given you a link. If I haven't already, ask me for it, ask SKYLAR for it. You go to the link. The tenant fills out a whole bunch of different information, which is actually provided to us later on in this report. So you can see they have to put in their income, and they're supposed to type in the rent here, which they didn't, but they're supposed to. So if they typed in the rent, which, I don't know, let's say it was $1,500 a month, NTN would say, okay, they make this much money, and the rent is $1,500 a month. That's not a good combination here. And that's going to actually hurt their score. But let's say they make $10,000 a month, the rent's $1,500 a month. They're going to look at that and say they're good to go, and that's going to improve their rating here. All right, so next page. So farther down this page here, it checks. You can see all of the stuff that it checks for. Checked for credit report, social security number matches the credit report. You'll have people that put in the wrong social security number on purpose or by accident so that they can try and get around. Well, NTN's checking for that and is matching it against their credit report. Date of birth matches, all of that stuff. If it doesn't, that's an issue, right? If it doesn't match, that's going to be a huge red flag for NTN, as it should be for you and for a landlord. Addresses, credit fraud, they're checking all of that. The other addresses, once it pulls their credit, the NTN is going to tell you that, so you're going to be able to check that, against their application. So right here, we just have the public records, in red, can't miss it. Says under the messages, it'll tell you a little bit more. There's an eviction filing. So I need to know why this happened, because people are going to see this number 55 and they're going to be like, and another side note, a lot of people say, well, what's a good number? What should I accept? There's really no right answer to that. It depends on why they scored low. So if they scored a 95, it's unlikely that they had an eviction or anything going on. They probably have great credit, no evictions, no nothing, 2 addresses ever, meaning they stay at places for a long time, no issues with their landlord, blah, blah, blah. But if they score a 70 or a 55 or a 60, well, why? Are they not paying their medical bills? That's different. NTN tries to look at their credit report and say, okay, they're late on some payments, but they're like medical bills or student loans. They've made their rent payment on time every month forever. So they will actually try to negate that in the outcome here. So that's really it for page 1. Most of these pages are just like, I don't know, random stuff about the person. This is more about their landlord-tenant civil court filing here. You can see that the tenant lost in this. They had to pay $1,651 plus damages. It goes over the social, date of birth. Here's all their landlords for previous places. All of this stuff is listed on the NTN. These are the criminal report. So there's no criminal action, just civil, right? Like a landlord-tenant dispute is civil, not criminal. So there's no criminal stuff that came up. This is a terrorist report. Thank God I've never seen anything come up in there. Want no records found on this subject here. If there was anything found, you'd have the more information on it. And then this is when landlords say, hey, send me over a rental application along with the NTN. When the tenant completes the NTN, they also fill this rental application out during the process. So this kills 2 birds in 1 stone. This comes to you along with the NTN. So you've got your application, which goes over, I'm going to move my face away from here, which goes over, their current address, their work number, their desired move-in date, lease term. Why are they moving? Right here, the tenant wrote that they need more space. Have you given notice that you're moving out? What's your job? What's your past job? All of that stuff is what a landlord's looking for in an application, and you get it here right along with your NTN. So you do not need to make your client fill out a second rental application if they fill out an NTN. In most cases, you send this over to the landlord, they might say, hey, you know what, I have 3 questions regarding the application, or hey, tell me a little bit more about this, or can you send me pay stubs? Can you send me a full credit report? The landlord or the listing agent has the right to ask you for that. And that's it. Other things to note here, I don't know. If they are asked for additional information, your job is just to go back to the tenant and ask for those things. It's very common for a landlord to want to see. I mean, you can see that credit was checked here, and we have a score from the Bureau of 625, but that's it. We don't have like that full report, that full credit report with a whole bunch of information and payment history and blah, blah, blah. A landlord, especially in this case, might ask for that. They might ask, hey, go to Credit Karma and get a full tri-merged credit report. That's what it's called. And that will show all of the detailed information. They might ask for bank account information, yeah, blah, blah, whatever. I can tell you from experience, I have had tenants complete an NTN, score, like I've had 2 tenants who are going to move in together, each fill out the NTN. They each score like a 95 or a 98. Then the landlord doesn't ask me for a single additional piece of documentation. Literally that's it. There's a 1 PDF. So it doesn't get easier than that, but you're not going to know until your tenant completes the NTN. So, that's the ongoing argument with whether we have our tenant complete this before we go out or after.